Yo, what is up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Empower 610, where we
empower minds one episode at a time.
Let's get it. And before we start this episode, we have an important fact for you. Nyce Jonez, what is it?
Apparently, it was just brought to my attention that 55.4% of our viewers that are watching our content on YouTube are actually not subscribed to our content.
55.4?
55.4.
So right now you gotta press the notification bell and you gotta hit that subscribe button to get more gems and more episodes, because we will keep it going, and that's how you support this podcast.
Pancake Poppy's gonna haunt you.
French toast.
No.
But what are we talking about today, Nyce?
So let's think about this here, right? We did ask Chad a question about what are some life lessons, and we'd like to talk about them a little bit and just see if Mr. Bardales here actually agrees with this list, and in no particular order. So first one that is here on chat, it says, take care of your health. In your 20s, your body is still strong and healthy, but it's also the time when you establish habits that can impact your health in the long term. Make sure to exercise regularly, eat a balanced diet, and get enough sleep. How you doing with that, sir? Because you're in your 20s, right?
Listen.
Oh, okay.
I would definitely take my fitness into more consideration, because I got into the gym. At one point, I was working out regularly, but then that just slumped. And honestly, for me, it was I just got comfortable with the lifestyle that I was living at the moment, and I kind of just let things go, and then I got out of focus. I think in reality, there's two of them that should be at the top. And which was the one that you mentioned?
Time. I'm always locked in on time.
And I think they go hand in hand together, because if you don't have good health, then you're going to start lacking the time. You won't have enough time if you don't have good health.
Yeah,
vice
that's
versa.
Facts. So I got to ask you a follow-up question. You know, obviously we talked a little bit about this during our pre-production discussion. But so you said that health and your fitness was a priority for you, but sometimes the life that you're living maybe slow down some of those things. So what are some things you feel like were impacting your ability to focus on the gym and your health? And are there some things that you're doing to now make some adjustments? And I feel like you talking about that will help some of our listeners out there as well.
So for me, in the beginning, I think I definitely lacked that discipline, where I put all of that discipline in my business. So I was staying up late doing editing videos, editing photos. And I'm thinking, like, I'm in my 20s, like, you know, I could stay up, I can get 3 hours of sleep, and that won't really affect me. But then eventually, like, I started noticing that me staying up late and, like, you know, trading in sleep for just having a little bit more time to finish that work really affected my whole mood. It affected my way of thinking certain days, and you just really feel off when you're not having a good night's rest. So overall, like, I think taking your health and also the time aspect, especially here in America, because coming from Peru, it's a little bit of a different culture over there. Even though I wasn't raised there, I could tell from my family there, like, they put family time over everything. Over here, family time is sacrificed for work.
That's true.
And that's one of the things that I think in your 20s, you kind of got to figure out your priorities, and what are you going to value first, and value second, and value third. And I know we spoke briefly about that in the previous episode as well. But more than anything in your 20s, you're figuring that out, because I think that will relate to if you're starting a business, and it will also relate to when you're getting into a serious relationship with someone. Being able to communicate what your values are in relation back to time, and then also taking care of your health is a big thing. So like me right now, I'm 27 going on 28. Taking care of my health is like main priority right now, and I'm trying to like get that way better before I hit 30.
This is your boy Love Jones. Self-love is the best kind of love.
Today's gems are sponsored by BetterHelp, the leading online therapy platform connecting you with over 20,000 licensed therapists.
Helping you getting back to loving you.
Communicate through video, audio, or unlimited messaging. BetterHelp offers you flexible options to communicate with your therapist.
With a simple questionnaire, BetterHelp will match you with the right therapist for your specific needs in as little as 48 hours.
Don't wait to start your mental health journey today with BetterHelp.
Go to betterhelp.com/empower610 for 10% off your first month of therapy with BetterHelp.
That's betterhelp.com/empower610.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, and it's an important adjustment, and hopefully for you personally, just kind of communicating this not only helps you be more accountable, but hopefully some of the viewers here that are listening to this want to hold you more accountable as well.
Yeah, for sure. And like one of the things that we spoke about as well is like being comfortable eating certain foods. A lot of the times in your 20s you're drinking a lot because you're going out having fun, and we're not the type to say like, you know, you should be out there and just working all the time and stuff like that, because that workaholic culture can also be I don't want to use the word toxic, but it can also be unhealthy for you if you're constantly working. But when it comes to your health, that definitely should be a priority, as well as, you know, making sure where are you spending your time, because we all think that we're living this timeline of like until like 75 or 80 or till whatever you have in your mind of when you're going to live. Mm-hmm. And we really don't know that.
No, we really don't. And that's why, you know, I'm really big on time being such a big investment. But let's transition on to the next one, because we talked quite a bit about health and time and how they correlate. But according to chat here, the next one they have is focus on your education and career. Your 20s are the time to lay the foundation for your career. Invest in education and training that will set you up for success in the long run.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
I wouldn't put it, I think, in second place. I don't know exactly where I would put it, but I think definitely focusing on education, and not necessarily formal education, just education as a whole, because a lot of the times you would see people go into college, they would read the books that they have to read. Most of the time they're reading Spark Notes, let's be real. And then once they finish, they don't read a book ever.
Nope.
Or once in a blue moon.
You know how many students I come in contact with that are super anti-reading and they're in school?
Yeah, and I was one of them, because I was literally against reading until I got to community college, and then eventually I learned about business books, and then I learned about the type of material that I like reading. So that was one of the things that I really got delved deep into, which was business. But for some other people, it may be different subjects, with whatever your passion is or with whatever your interest is. And I definitely think that's, you know,
an important one.
Top 10, maybe not second.
Yeah. I don't know if it would be second for me, even thinking about my 20s, but I do feel like there's tremendous value on that being a vocal point, because when you focus on learning, and I'm with you on the not necessarily focusing on formal education. I honestly and wholeheartedly don't feel like formal education is for everyone, but I do think feeding your mind on a consistent basis is very important. Find things that you like, learn, let them program, and then apply them into things. You know, it's one thing. It's so easy to just be a consumer. I feel like people have glutton for content, and you know, you can watch so much just on your phone and get caught doom scrolling, but you know, sit down, sacrifice screen time for read time, and like have an actual book.
And I think especially now today, there's so much content out there. One of the things is actually curating that content and knowing which content to consume, because a lot of the times you just consume content that reassures your beliefs, and sometimes those beliefs may not necessarily be right, or you may be closed-minded to a different belief. What I tend to do is I listen to something that normally I wouldn't listen to, just to hear people out, just to hear the other side, and kind of expand my mindset and open up those doors of like, all right, maybe, you know, I can kind of get into this, or you know what, this is the reason why I don't like this. But every now and then, I think it's important to have that balance.
Yeah, balance is definitely key. And then that open-minded part you talked about, like I feel like you said, that was spot on, where so many times we're trying to form our own bias. We'll like look for things that affirm it and anything that challenges it. Depending on who you are, you get emotionally charged and want to argue about it. And sometimes people be loud and wrong.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just it's a waste of time. Like I can hear anyone out and listen, but certain things, it's like, all right, well, I listened to that. I looked at that perspective. That's not for me. I'm good on that. So, I think by being open-minded, you now open yourself up to take in more information. And the more you take in information, the more it kind of helps your creativity as well. Or, also there's tons of neuroscience studies that prove this, but that helps you with your ability to solve problems as well, because you're pulling from a wider base of knowledge and information. So
right. And I think one of the things that could relate, going back to time, and what I would probably be replacing like the education portion with, and I would add it to my top 3, is just spending time with family and really being present in the moment. Because I feel like now that I'm in my 20s, all this new technology is coming out, all this social media, everything is there to kind of take away your attention, that even when you're spending time with a loved one, whether it be family, a friend, you're not really present in the moment.
Nah.
And we take that for granted until something happens. And like now in my 20s, there's been friends that passed away. There's been family members that passed away, that sometimes you kind of have that expectation of like, oh, next year I'll visit, or next year, I'll be around. And then something happens relating to health, right? Mm-hmm. Or something happens with life, and then
it hits.
And then it hits.
Oh my gosh, people really get impacted.
So
really?
For me personally, I think spending time and learning how to be present in the moment with family and loved ones, because I also acknowledge that not everyone has a healthy situation with their family. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm adding like loved ones there, whether that be like your close friends or whoever you consider your family. I would put that on your top 3.
Yeah, no, those bonds, those deep bonds are important. And I like what you said about presence, because when I'm doing certain things, I put my phone right in do not disturb.
Oh, I know. I be calling them twice.
People be so upset, but I'm like, I use that. My biggest thing now is trying to do things very intentional. So, I like to focus on what I'm at, where I'm doing. So that way, like if I'm with someone, they have my undivided attention. If I'm in a meeting, that meeting has my unidentified attention. So that way I can really focus and I'm getting the most out of that time, versus trying to have several conversations at once. Because that's what texting and social media really is. Like if you're in front of people, like how rude is it if I'm talking to you, but there's 7 other people trying to talk to me in the same room at the same time? Mm-hmm. Can I really actively give anyone my full attention if everyone's voice is being heard? So exactly. That's how I look at being on the phone. It's like you're splitting your attention in like a pizza pie, and it's not really fair to the person that you're in front of. So
right. And it's funny that we're transitioning into the next topic, which is they have learn how to manage your finances. I think in your 20s, especially for the ones that are going to college, I think this one's a big one. If you are getting some type of student loans, mm-hmm. and once eventually you have to start renting or buying a house, because I don't know about y'all, but in high school, they didn't teach us about finance. They didn't teach us about managing a budget, which would have been super helpful. But that's kind of something that you either have to, luckily there's YouTube, YouTube University.
But, I hear that that's such a common thing, and I don't have that experience. I went to Allen just like a lot of other people. And I did learn finance stuff in school, and I learned it at home as well. My mom was on top of stuff. But I had an economics class. And in the economics class, that's how I learned about the stock market. And within that, we all had portfolios, and we tracked them literally like looking at the indexes in the newspaper. And I remembered like just kind of thinking, and making my selections, and then my fake portfolio performed very well. And in fact, the teacher that I had in that class ended up being the mayor in the next town over. So I'll never forget him because I learned a lot from that class that I applied with me while I was in college in my other finance class. So I know as much as people talk about that, sometimes I'll be wondering, like, did you not learn it or were y'all not paying attention?
Yeah.
But that's my own takeaway, so that's neither here nor there. But, you know, at this point, there is no excuse. You have the internet. You have a phone. They have apps that literally teach financial literacy. There's plenty of programs.
That's very true.